Welcome, everybody. I received a lot of positive feedback about yesterday's story showing the viral Biden wanders away video, which was cropped into insanely vertical fashion, and then comparing it to the full video and showing how these doctored and edited videos are going viral very quickly. I want to talk about the broader issue here, which is no matter what I can do to debunk a single video and show you how it's been deceptively edited and it doesn't represent reality, no matter how many times I do it or how quickly I can do it, these videos are going viral so quickly and on so many platforms that it's actually very difficult to keep up. And there's a very good article on MSNBC or on NBCnews.com rather from Alex Seitz-Wald, which talks about this. And the article is called "Misleading Republican Videos of Biden Are Going Viral. The fact checks have trouble keeping up." One Democratic strategist said the lie is sprinting the 100-meter dash and the fact check is taking a stroll on the beach, so it's never going to catch up. And of course, this is very similar to the dynamic that exists with corrections. Some front page newspaper story, and then 3 days later, a correction at the back of section B. Way fewer people see the correction at the end of section B than the number that see the erroneous information on the front page story. And this all really comes from desperation from the Republican Party. We're going to see them now starting to set expectations for Donald Trump in next week's debate lower and lower because obviously some of them are seeing what is going on with Donald Trump. And so the reason that the Republican Party is resorting to these sort of cheap fakes, what's next, Biden's an alien or something, is that they know that if someone sits down and watches an hour of Biden and an hour of Trump, it becomes very evident who the risk is and who isn't making any sense. I actually think that that's sort of the challenge. And I would even challenge people to do this. If we do an hour show roughly. In an hour show, I can't include an hour Biden speech and questions and a Trump hour speech and questions. Some of Trump's hour speeches turn into 2 hours because he's rambling and sometimes tells the same stories multiple times. But that would be the challenge. Sit down and watch a full Trump speech and a full Biden speech, and what will you see? Well, in the Biden speech, you will see an individual who understands policy, particularly when it comes to the foreign policy discussions that he's been having, and sometimes will kind of mumble or stutter, something he's dealt with his entire life. And yes, sometimes he will talk really slowly and quietly, and we wonder, did he just lose his train of thought there for a moment? That's what you will see with Biden when he speaks for an hour, as he did in the State of the Union, much longer. On the other hand, if you watch an hour speech with Trump, first of all, if you turn it on at the time it's scheduled to start, you'll wait an hour before it even starts because Trump's perennially late to every speech that he gives. But once the speech actually starts and you watch 60 minutes of the Trump speech, you will see a guy who will very often repeat the same nonsensical or imaginary stories. He will glitch and be so unable to even continue speaking that he will physically have a shaking reaction and then go on to something else, sometimes pointing to someone in the crowd that he recognizes. He will sometimes make up words. He will sometimes misstate basic facts and have no idea that he is misstating them. Who the president is, who he defeated, who he ran against, who Obama ran against, basic facts. And he will just continue on because he has no awareness that, oh, I just said something that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And sometimes the stories he tells make such little sense and seem like free association, a sort of verbal ink blot of sorts, that you will see the crowd become visibly confused about what even the general topic is. Was the topic electric vehicles or sharks or electrocution or batteries or wind farms or Obama or Biden? What was the topic here? So that is what you will observe if you watch an hour of each of them. But the viral videos of Biden often slowed down or often cut in ways that are not representative of reality, or sometimes cropped so you can't see what it is Biden is looking at. They've done this one many times. There's one time where, remember, Biden turned and stuck his hand out, sort of like, hey, great to see you or whatever. and it makes it look like he's looking at nothing. And then you see the wider shot, and at a 45-degree angle behind him, there's a group of people that he's talking to, and that's what it is. So the only thing more consistent than the misleading nature of these Republican videos is the Republican Party's desperation to have the lies sprint out there and leave the truth to sort of try to walk up to the finish line while they are completely devoid of any serious policy discussion. The funny thing is, there is a program of policy that Republicans have for next year if Trump wins. It's Project 2025, but they don't really want to publicly talk about it. Bannon will sort of allude to it, Steve Bannon in his programs. Some other Republicans will kind of allude to, we got to deal with the administrative state. But the only real policy they have is the disastrous Project 2025, which when people hear about it, they hate it. So they talk about it very, very little. So the Republican spin machine is working overtime. They're creating fiction after fiction. And when you can't win on merit, when you can't win on policy, when you can't win because the things you want, like overturning Roe v. Wade, are extraordinarily unpopular, you go to these cheap tricks. I read somewhere, maybe it was in Alex's article or elsewhere, they're trying to win with pixels instead of policy, for lack of a better term. And these misleading videos are an extraordinarily effective camouflage for the complete lack of platform as a party and for the fact that Donald Trump's brain seems to be melting and turning to tartar sauce. Let's call it tartar sauce. So this is, I don't have a solution right now. I'm trying to kind of explore the problem with you, but it's hard to fact check because so much of this stuff comes out and it spreads way more quickly. And when it spreads 1,000 in 1,000 different videos on TikTok and on 250 different right-wing shows, how do you attach a fact check to that? You can't really do it in any real way. As the technology improves to do deep fakes and other AI-based deceptive video, this is going to become even more difficult. And it is a way to exploit fears and to sort of distract. So do we need to focus on holding platforms accountable for spreading falsehoods? I don't know. I don't really know how you do that. I think there's risks to that. But it is a relentless spread of disinformation. They are doing well with it because they are spreading it faster than we can fact check it. And it is going viral faster than the fact checks are going viral. So that's where we are. At least there are articles being written about the fact that this is going on. And sort of alongside the viral video disinformation are the conspiracy theories and the new very low expectation setting. And I want to talk about that next. I love my Helix sleep mattress. I've been sleeping on Helix mattresses for years now, which is why I asked them to be a sponsor. You actually take their famous sleep quiz, takes just a few minutes to answer questions about your sleep preferences, body type, sleep position, whether you have back pain, and Helix will match you with a mattress that's perfect for you, which is really unique and helpful because a lot of people don't know where to start when buying a mattress. I certainly didn't. Their newest collection of mattresses, called Helix Elite, come with a built-in Glaciotex layer to keep you cool at night, an extra layer of foam for pressure relief, and thousands of extra microcoils for best-in-class support and durability. All of their mattresses ship right to your door, totally free. They come with a 10 or 15-year warranty, and you get 100 nights to decide if you like it. Right now, for a limited time, Helix is offering up to 30% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows. It's the biggest discount they've ever offered. Go to helixsleep.com/Pacman. The link is in the description.